Attention, Charlie, lock it up. We've got a lot to cover. Welcome to Mount Training. Military operations in urban terrain. We're headed to Zekistan, so Battalion has ordered a refresher for all U.S. Army infantry. We will begin today with Phase 1 training. You are in command of this Army's finest warriors. A dismounted light infantry squad.
Hey guys, Max92, welcome back to another tryout. Today's tryout is on Full Spectrum Warrior. So, I think the most interesting part about this game is that, as far as I can tell from a little bit of research and some cheat codes that I found, this game was originally designed as like a US Army training simulator, like a tactics training simulator. And so, when you play the game part, it's this sort of tactical simulation game where you control a couple squads, you tell them where to go, you tell them to do formation, whatever. It is very much that thing. In the time allotted, I only made it through the 5 tutorial missions, so I didn't get that far. It took me about an hour and a half or so to do that. But yeah, US Army training software. That's kind of interesting, I guess, but it's like, you know, a lot of people will like to call like FPS games like US Army propaganda or whatever. I don't entirely think that's true here, just because this game is designed to have been put in front of you after you've already enlisted, so there's no reason to. I guess there is a consumer release copy, but like the design philosophy around it isn't like, look at how cool it is to be an army. It's like, this is the actual stuff you got to deal with, which makes it a bit more realistic in air quotes, but also like showcases how difficult and dangerous it is a lot better. So I don't think, I mean, I wouldn't have been convinced anyway. I've already way past not going into the military, but I don't think this, even if I wasn't at that point, would have convinced me to join the military, and if it would have more likely convinced me otherwise, because again, it showcases how difficult and dangerous it is. Even in just, like I said, I just played the tutorial missions, which are literally like training, military training, within the narrative of the story. I didn't even get to the levels that take place in like the Middle East or whatever you're doing. The game is from 2004, so that's sort of the time period and what like the modern warfare, the modern combat battlefield that they're going to be on is like the Middle East somewhere. I don't know how specific it gets, because I didn't play that far. I mean, I probably told me in the tutorial, I just don't remember. It might have been a fake country.
We're headed to Zekistan.
I'm getting off topic. Anyway, mentioned this game was from 2004, so that's the sort of eyes I'm trying to look at it with, and I think for 2004, this would be pretty impressive. Like, it's not like something I hate looking at, it's not something that is terrible. The big problem with the game is that the control system is just kind of bad. This sort of strategy, tactical strategy, whatever type game, I feel like works best when played with mouse and keyboard. But over the years, as consoles have been more popular than PC, people have tried and tried and tried again to get this genre onto a controller, and sometimes it works. I think this isn't a case where it doesn't. It's hard to do, and the way that it puts you behind the character, being from modern times where third-person shooters are really common, it makes me feel like I'm supposed to be able to directly control the character that I'm looking at, and that's not the case. You control the squad by giving them taking your little cursor, putting it into place, and press an A, and they move there. And that would work better if you didn't give me this specific behind-a-character, third-person view. It's just sort of not working. And on top of that, in order to do action, it's a lot of, like, button combinations. Like, oh, you want to I can't even remember how to do some of them at this point. You want to tell your squad to move to a position, but face a certain direction just in case there are enemies, and engage if there are. To do that, you move your cursor to a place, you hold down the button to select the spot, and then it brings up a thing that gives you a cursor to point in a direction, and then you press the select button. The problem is, to get that cursor up for just normal combat, like if you want to tell your squad to shoot at a target, it's holding the X button. So there were several times that I would hold down the A button, tell my people where to go, hold down the A button, bring up the circle, and then I'd press the X button because in my head, oh, X is the attack button. That's the engagement button. And it doesn't do that. It just closes the whole thing out, and I have to start over again. And it's just a lot of these little, like, button combinations, and it's sort of like remembering fighting game combos, in a sense, where it's like, you gotta remember this combination of things, and it would be better if this was on a PC and everything had an individual button. Like, okay, it's called bounding, the thing I was describing before. The bounding key, like, move my cursor, press the bounding key instead of the movement key, and then press the select key, or whatever. It would work better with more buttons and more options in a different view, because if you're trying to move your people around a corner, like, the camera is wonky, and it'd just be better if you could see above. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to limit your visuals to what you would actually be able to see. They're trying to give you that realism. But I just don't think that works with the style of game they've made here. If they wanted to do that, we already have things like Rainbow Six, before this, on the Nintendo 64, that, as much as Rainbow Six has not aged great, that's sort of that tactical, strategic first-person shooter. They could have done the same thing in a third-person shooter, and I think it would have worked better than what they have here. Other than the control scheme, it's interesting, and I would have played more had I not hated the controls. The visuals and the audio were fine. I think I had a couple audio weird things here. It was okay otherwise, but like, the controls are most of the gameplay, and I kind of struggled with them here and there, and I guess, again, I was in the tutorial, so there wasn't, like, great stakes, and they let me restart pretty close back, but, like, in, like, the last tutorial mission, they introduced, like, save points and failure, and so I failed several times in the process of this because, like, I didn't notice an enemy or whatever, like, the thing didn't give me information that I thought it had given me or thought it would give me, and it just, I get it. This is like a sort of realistic tactical strategy thing, and that's cool. I just don't think it works very well, at least not as an original Xbox game. But yeah, that's this thing. I forgot to mention, this is, for the month of July, I'm doing throwback to original Xbox games for the tryouts. I didn't say my rating yet for this. It fails. I've already uninstalled it. I'm not going to play more of it. There are original Xbox games that hold up today. It's just not this one. And that's just how it is. So, move on to the ending bits. Like button if you liked the video, dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you want to keep up with what I do, leave a comment. Have you played Full Spectrum Warrior? Did you have an original Xbox growing up? What games did you play on the original Xbox? I'm not going to give any spoilers of what the other two games for the month are, but I just sort of picked random ones, so it's not like classics necessarily. It's just sort of games I got with games with gold or whatever at some point. So there's no requests, but let me know what you played on the original Xbox. Share the video with your friends if you have friends who did or didn't like Full Spectrum Warrior. Do the things. And anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!
It's time to review what you've just learned about reporting and CASEVACs. If you sustain a casualty, you must take the wounded man to the nearest CASEVAC ASAP. It's important that you secure the downed man as soon as possible. When a man goes down, his position on the fire team indicator on your screen will change appearance and slowly fade. You must secure him before his life indicator runs out, or the man is lost and the mission has failed. Once he is secured, carry him to the nearest CASEVAC for aid. CASEVACs also replenish your team's ammo supply. Report in to receive mission objectives and hints. I will provide mission updates and important intel via your field radio. Whenever you see the flashing red light on the squawk, press the white button to report in and receive new orders. You can also report in on your own, in case new intel and hints become available. Here's an advanced technique we did not cover, but you can try on your own. To cover multiple flanks with a single team, you can assign individual fire sectors. First, pull and hold the right trigger. This displays the 3D fog of war, which shows where your men are looking. The blurry areas show us where your team is vulnerable, since they can't shoot what they can't see. Next, select a team position with your D-pad. Press X to display the fire sector cursor. Aim it into the blurry area with your left thumbstick and press A. The soldier will turn to cover that fire sector while his teammates remain locked in the team fire sector. You can assign each man an individual fire sector if you wish. Be aware that doing this diminishes the amount of firepower focused in each fire sector. Assigning too many fire sectors reduces the lethality of your team. You can learn more about this advanced fire technique by consulting the Full Spectrum Warrior Manual. That is all, soldiers. Go do me proud.